Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Threshold of Creation Good Evening Talk, Episode 1. I want to first warmly welcome you to the channel and to this practice. It is my sincere desire to do everything I possibly can to allow this practice to help you create the life that you want to live. And that's my sole purpose. So thank you for being here. And it's truly a pleasure for myself to be here as well and to help support you in the practice of finding your true self and becoming authentic to a life that you want to live. With that in mind, let's get started. So I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. I'm actually going to read an excerpt from my book, The Power of Practicing Authenticity. And I'm going to read the portion on honesty. I think it's very important that we become very clear on what honesty is. And so I want to read basically from the foundation material in that process. So without further ado, honesty is the first chapter in the Book of Wisdom, Thomas Jefferson. The first step of the mindset framework is honesty. Honesty starts with acknowledging your identity. Honesty is accepting your identity. From this place of honesty, you can define who or what you are for yourself and no longer have to live in the shadow of your identity. Honesty is the starting point of aligning yourself to creation. What we resist persists. As long as we are resisting our own identity, it is going to persist. The idea is to acknowledge and accept it. This can also be worded by saying it is about becoming okay with the identity. There's a caveat, though, that is extremely important. You are not the trauma. You are not the cause of your trauma. What happened to you that created the identity state is not your fault. You are not to blame. Please do not take this idea of acknowledging, accepting, and becoming okay with your identity as a reason to blame yourself for the experience. Acknowledging, accepting, and becoming okay with the identity is a process to diminish its power and control over your life. Through this process of acceptance, you become okay with the identity and you remove the resistance. The removing of the resistance allows you to acknowledge the identity. If you acknowledge the identity, then what is acknowledging it? If there is acknowledgement of the identity, then there must be a part that is doing the acknowledging. This idea proves the existence of your identity. It also proves that you are not the identity. How can you acknowledge there are multiple parts to you? You do not have multiple personalities. However, there is an identity that you associate with. Your identity, you identify with this identity and say that it is me. The acknowledgement and acceptance of the identity removes your attachment to it. You realize that the identity is a separate entity inside of you. Through this realization, you become free to define a new state of reality for yourself. You are free to create a new state for yourself. Once you see and understand the validity of this process, you can become unattached to the identity, become attached to your new desired state. From this new state, you can start becoming honest with yourself. Your attachment to the identity state creates a situation where you define what you want through your old emotions, old thoughts, and old thought patterns, old memories, and old perspectives of the separated self and your narrative. Through acceptance of your identity and letting go of the information carried with it, you open yourself to the creation of a new perspective. This new perspective allows you to create a new identity for yourself. Honesty is about telling yourself the truth. Integrity is showing the truth to other people. Telling yourself the truth starts from the new state, and this state is created through the acceptance of your identity. For the new state, you can allow yourself to be true to you in terms of what you want and allow those wants to be okay within you. Do not judge your desires or allow anyone else to judge them for you. Honesty is allowing yourself to be true to you and your desires. Honesty is the foundation of all creation. The more honest you are with yourself, the stronger the connection will become between you and creation. Honesty will define desire. From desire, the ideas will formulate that will become the process. Processes are the birth of action. When the action is aligned to the process and the process is founded in truth from a place of honesty within you, from this place you become authentic with your true desire. The more honest you become with yourself, the more authentic you become with what you genuinely want. Authenticity brings understanding. Understanding breeds clarity. Clarity creates honesty. That's honesty. Your job is to shift away from the identity. And the way that you do that is you first acknowledge, accept, and become okay with the identity itself. Because any other action, you're actually resisting the identity. What you resist persists. That's just the way it works. To acknowledge, accept, and become okay with the identity. Now, how do we do that? One of the ways of doing that is practicing mindfulness. It's another way of, that can be actually, mindfulness can be practiced through meditation. It could be practiced through working out, yoga, anything where you are actually focusing your mind on something, breathing techniques, a mantra, desire statement, anything along those lines. All you want to do is focus the mind. When you are consciously focusing the mind, or you're consciously using the mind to focus on something, you are no longer at that point in time focused on the identity. You have shifted your focus to something else. You have shifted into a new state of mind, a new state of being. Through this practice of acceptance, through this practice of acknowledgement, and this focus, what you're going to do over time is allow yourself to become aligned to that state, that new state of being. That's more of your true self. See, we live in separation. The identity separates us from creation because our actions are habitual behaviors. And if our habitual behaviors are not aligned to what we want, we live in separation to what we want. Well, what we want is creation. So what we're really doing is living in separation to creation. And what we're trying to do is stop the human condition and allow ourselves to reconnect to creation through our desired intent of what we want to create. Guys, that's honesty. That's all there is to it. There's really not much more that I can talk about it right now until we start walking into that. Once we start walking into that, we're going to gain new insight. That insight's going to allow us to take honesty to another level. So for right now, let's focus on acknowledging, accepting, and becoming okay with the identity so we can focus on something new. That something new will create a new state of being for us. And when we're in that state of being, the identity is not in control. That practice will allow us to start aligning us to creation and the creative process rather than allowing our separated self or identity to be in control. One of the ways that you can practice this, when you realize that you're aligned to the identity or the identity is in control, practice your shifting technique, practice your meditation, practice your focus process. When you practice your focus process, it's going to help you become aware when the identity state is in control and help you shift into your new state of being. If there's any questions, please let me know. I don't want to inundate you with too much information here in this step of honesty, and I really want to make it simple. One of the things I'm going to be doing over the next couple days is providing you with meditations for each one of the traits. They're going to be short, 10 minutes long. Try to do them once, preferably twice a day. All right? What you do consistently is a step. The more steps you take, the farther away you're going to walk away from where you are now, and you're closer to where you want to be. So every day, take a minimum of one step, preferably two. So do the process once, preferably twice, and just practice your mindfulness. Practice your state of focus within that meditation. Again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Leave a comment in the video, send me an email, tony@thethresholdofcreation.com, and we will get to those answers and get you moving on to creating the life that you want to live. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here, for supporting the channel. Truly, truly appreciate you. Thank you. Have a great night. Enjoy.